Coming to you from the Oak Spring Garden Foundation in Upperville, Virginia, it's Between Two Topiaries, the show where we talk about gardening the Bunny Mellon way. Now, here's your host, Todd Lloyd.
Welcome Between Two Topiaries. My name is Todd Lloyd. I'm the head gardener here at Oak Spring Garden Foundation. I've been employed by the Mellons for almost 36 years now, and we're here today to talk about topiaries. Sarah, do you have any questions for me today?
As I'll be working with you in the greenhouse a lot more, I thought I should know more about Miss Mellon's topiaries and why we still keep them here at the foundation.
The topiaries were always a staple in any of Miss Mellon's greenhouses, or when they were staged through the main house. It was just something that she really enjoyed and really liked. Her favorite topiary is the myrtle topiary, which is probably one of the harder ones to get started to grow. We have 7 different species of topiaries that we are keeping her legacy going.
So how do you start a topiary after you make a cutting?
For me, the success I've had, I've tried several different ways. I've tried them in water, I've tried them in sand, I've tried them in just potting soil. They just don't seem to get the root system that fast enough for what I need. So I use what they call Oasis root cubes, and I use those, and that has worked for me. Like I said, there's several different ways of doing it, but that has worked the best for me. Okay, these are the Oasis root cubes. These normally are soaked in water for at least a couple hours just to make sure they're good and wet, to where when we do our cuttings, we can put them inside these. Then once we get them, we put them in a tray, and then once they're in the tray, we make sure the tray is nice and wet again, and we just want to keep them, make sure that the cube itself doesn't dry out. So we just kind of monitor it and make sure that it has plenty of moisture, and in the direct sunlight as well. There's the root system. That's about 3 weeks old, and that is time now that this plant is ready to be potted up.
So what's the next step after the root cube?
Okay, after the root cube, these are 2 1/4. I'd like to start them in a 2 1/4 inch pot. The Oasis itself, I would trim this back a little bit, and then I'll put it into some potting mix, and just keep this moist as well. And then this is a rosemary. This is probably 8 months old, so it goes from 3 weeks in there, and then once I get a good root system, this is a size that you will be looking for after a couple months. This one right here, this rosemary itself, all the different leads that I have, as you can see, all your topiaries will not make good topiaries. But this one here, I have several different leads in every different aspect that I need, to where I can shape that to this here will be a nice topiary. This will be the rosemary in the back. This is a mature one. This one's not quite there. That one's about 3 years old. Plop it out there. Now I have to scoot my chair so you can see me. So I'm not.
So how old would you say that this rosemary is?
This rosemary is probably 4 to 5 years old, and this rosemary at one time was this, or even this at one time. So after working with it on a daily basis, and this is a preferred shape that we use for the melons, and this is what she would want. So these are a couple weeks old, this is a couple months old, and this is a few years old. So it does take time.
So what is the oldest topiary that we have here?
Probably the oldest one we have, it's a myrtle topiary. It's been there for almost 20 years. It doesn't look the greatest, but the reason why it's still here, it's still one of the original plants that we have grown over the years for Mrs. Mellon. So we're still getting cuttings off of it, and so we keep all of the original plants that Miss Mellon have alive, still here going today.
Thank you so much, Todd, for taking the time to answer my questions, and I look forward to making topiaries with you in the future.
Yes, I look forward to it, and thank you, and we'll see you next time on Between Two Topiaries.
This has been an Oak Spring Garden Foundation production.